Charizard is one of the most iconic Pokemon ever, yet I don't know how good it's going to do for this. You see, Charizard in Generation 1 was kinda really average, at least in terms of its stats. I mean, it has base 100 special attack nowadays, but back then it only had its base 85 special and base 84 attack. The only thing it's kind of exceptional in is speed, which means it crits more, which is actually kind of going to be a bad thing. Why? Because the strength of Charizard is in its moveset. It has a pretty decent moveset with Swords Dance, Earthquake, Body Slam. That coverage along with a fire move should be helpful. Speaking of a fire move, we won't get Flamethrower until very, very, very late. And you might think that will be a big problem for Brock. Luckily, even though Charizard's stats for a late game Pokemon are mediocre, for an early game Pokemon, it doesn't matter. I do battle all the bug catchers, and because Charizard is in the medium slow group, which is a bit deceptive, it's really the level up super fast at the beginning, kinda slow-ish at the end, it's gonna be level 11. All I did was battle the 2 extra bug catchers. We're at level 11. I didn't battle Rival 1A, I didn't battle the junior trainer, and while it's not a one-hit KO by any means, Ember does more than enough damage. Geodude doesn't do enough with Tackle, especially because it can spam Defense Curl. And then Onix's attack is so weak. If it uses Bide, we always could switch to Growl or Leer. And that's how Brock's gonna go. First try victory. That wasn't one I was worried about. What I was worried about is what's about to come next. Charizard doesn't have a great matchup either against Rival 2 nor Misty, but it has a much better matchup against Rival 2, and I did pick up Mega Punch in Mount Moon, so at the very least that will help for Squirtle. I go for Mega Punch, and it doesn't do all that much, like a third. Pidgeotto goes for Sand Attack, but thankfully it's a 1 in 4 chance for it to miss, and it does. I go for Ember, it's looking to do about the same as Mega Punch did, and it's way more accurate. And thankfully, Pidgeotto goes for Gust, then Quick Attack, so we knock it out. Aber can't attack as always, so I'm just going to knock it out with the Mega Punch. Mega Punch does have a pretty significant chance to miss, so yeah, that's going to be a problem maybe. Rattata, I went for Ember thinking it would one-shot, it didn't, but that's okay. Squirtle shouldn't be able to knock me out. I go for Mega Punch, it goes for Tail Whip, and I hit with a 4th consecutive Mega Punch. Not too bad. And even though there is an Onix on this route, again, we have Ember, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. And we could make our way to the SS Anne, but I want to try battling Misty just after we get the SS ticket, just to see how it goes, because it will save time if we can beat her right now. As always, she leads with Staryu. I go for Mega Punch. It's doing like 90%, so I can knock it out with Scratch. Unfortunately, though, after the first Mega Punch, Starmie goes for X-Defend, and because of that, it's not going to be a 3-hit KO, and thus Starmie is able to use Bubble Beam and then Water Gun, and I don't have any more HP left. So I go back to battle Misty again, and it went actually a lot worse, if you can believe it. We didn't miss against Staryu, so that part went pretty much identically, but the issue is, Starmie can just get a critical hit, or it can go for Bubble Beam twice. So while in a way X-Defend is really annoying because it takes more hits, in another way it's better because Starmie doesn't attack. Now, in theory, I could just battle Misty after I do the SS Anne, but then I won't have access to cut outside of battle, and then I'll have to skip Surge until after Rock Tunnel, and then I won't have access to Fly, so it really costs time. If you can beat Misty right now, you should, and there is one more thing I could do. I could battle the Team Rocket member that's just outside of Cerulean. Beating him will give me some experience points, but that's not actually the point. The point is to get TM28 Dig. In modern generations, it's just 80 base power, and in Gen 2 and 3, which I've been playing a lot lately, it's base 60 power, but in Gen 1, as you might know, it's base 100 power, the same as Earthquake. Really overpowered to get that so early on, but that will turn Starmie potentially into a 2-hit KO. So if I can use that, and if Starmie doesn't use X-Defend, we likely will win. I just don't know how consistent it's going to be. Alright, so in this battle with Misty, we see a problem with Dig. Since it takes an extra turn to hit, Staryu can just use an X defend, and so can Starmie. So we aren't at any advantage thus far, and while Starmie doesn't use the X defend right away, it does after the second time I use Dig. So pretty much the battle looks the same. However, perhaps it can go a little better if Staryu doesn't use X defend. Unfortunately, the next time around, it does just that. So we're still at minus 16 HP. And Starmie uses X defend again. But this time, I'm actually the one to get a critical hit. And before you say, wow, that's lucky, not really. It's like a 20% chance that I should get a critical hit with a base 100 speed. So yeah, we're just going to accept the result of that battle. Sometimes I reset, but not here. I actually think I got exceptionally unlucky that it took this long. I was getting both bad ranges, and Misty was using X defend at the worst possible times. So yeah, that's going to be 2 gym badges. We're going to head to the SSN, and like always, when we can, we're going to get Body Slam. It's just such a useful, reliable, and consistent move, and it should help make Rival 3, I'd say easier, but Rival 2 was pretty easy at the end of the day. Alright, so we're going to use Body Slam against Pidgeotto. It doesn't one-shot, but it doesn't go for Sand Attack, so that's fine. 1 down. Eradicate, we're going to go for Dig, and it does one-shot. 2 down. Kadabra, I know it's got terrible defense. We're going to go for Body Slam. We knock it out. And then Wartortle, I'm going to go for Dig, just in case Body Slam somehow a 3-hit KO. Dig does way more than half. I guess I should have gone for Body Slam, would have saved a turn. Not a big deal. We barely lose any HP. And we can move on to Lieutenant Surge, who is also going to be really easy. Against the Voltorb, I go for Body Slam. Surprisingly, it doesn't 1-hit KO, but there's not much any of Surge's Pokemon are going to be able to do to me. So that's 1 down. Pikachu, Body Slam, unsurprisingly, will one-shot. And as for Raichu, I am a flying type, so no need to play this risky. I'm just going to go for Dig. Thankfully, we do outspeed. The one saving grace of Charizard's stats is that it's very fast. And that is 3 gym badges down. We pretty much have gone in the optimal order too, with the one brief exception of having to beat the Team Rocket trainer first for Misty. So, Charizard, even though we had to battle a few extra trainers, we are just mere minutes behind the fastest possible time. So that's not bad at all, heading into Celadon City. Now, I am a fire type, so I figured battling Erica first would be a good idea. I was wrong, and you'll see why. I go for Body Slam just to see how much it's going to do, and a critical hit only does 2/3, which is kind of bad. Now Victory Bell goes for Poison Powder, which is also bad. I can knock it out with Ember, but after hitting Tangela with Ember, it goes for Bind. Thankfully, it's only going to hit 2 times, but that wasted time, and I have some poison damage. Vileplume, however, can't do anything to me. I go for Ember, and it's a 3-hit KO unless I get a critical hit. And that's kind of where I feel like I messed up. If I would have maybe battled Giovanni first, then perhaps it would have been a 2-hit KO, save me a little bit of time. But J-Rose, won't Giovanni be difficult? Giovanni has Rock Pokemon. Nah, Dig is pretty good. I'm pretty sure we'll one-shot Onix. Oh, we don't. Well, Rock Throw would have been a little concerning. We actually might have lost in an alternate universe. Rhyhorn, on the other hand, Dig is going to one-shot. And then Kangaskhan, I go for Ember. Then I go for Body Slam. I think Ember was going to do more damage. Either way, it would be a 3 or 4 KO. But thankfully, we got pretty good luck. Don't lose any HP. But yeah, I guess battling Erica first was the right call. I thought we would one-shot Onix no matter what. And then we would use those experience points to make Erica faster. Turns out we did need a little bit more attack, or maybe just a favorable range. Now, the one thing I actually had to think a little bit about when I was doing my shopping is whether I want to buy calciums or whether I want to buy protein. Because we use our attack more than our special, but special serves both purposes, it being both offensive and defensive. At the end of the day, I went for protein initially, and I'm going to go back and buy calcium later. Now, those vitamins aren't cheap, so we're going to go battle Rival 4. I'm going to go for Body Slam. Still doesn't one-shot Pidgeotto, but still doesn't use Sand Attack. It does one-shot Growlithe, which is nice. Ember one-shots Execute, Body Slam one-shots Kadabra, and we do one-shot Wartortle due to a critical hit. That's not bad. Thanks to Dig, I don't have to worry about ghosts, and that's going to be true of Agatha as well, which is awesome. And we can move on to what? Normally, I would go to Fuchsia, but this time I had a different idea. Now, I've been doing these videos for years, and I never talk about what I do in Sylph Company. So here's what you do. You go to the 5th floor, I pick up an elixir hidden in the plant. All you need to do is battle this one Team Rocket member with an Arbok, and then, just to his right, there is the card key. Normally, we would just use the card key to open the door to our left, take that warp, and that takes you to floor 3, where you can take another warp to Rival Fivel. Instead, I'm actually going to backtrack and go to floor 7, and if you remember some of my other videos on floor 7, there is the TM for Swords Dance. And using that TM, I think we can actually defeat Rival Fivel. So I'm just going to go for Swords Dance. Unfortunately, we do get Sand Attack, so I'm going to go for all 3. Thankfully, the Rival uses Whirlwind, but then I miss with Body Slam. It hits with Wing Attack. Now, we are getting Badge Boost for defense, and finally, we knock out Pidgeot. I say finally, it's only been one turn of miss. We don't miss against Growlithe, that's pretty good. We don't miss against Execute, and while shockingly we do outspeed, we miss. Thankfully, so does Alakazam, and it used Disable. We don't miss the second attack. Now out comes Blastoise. We don't miss, but we get a critical hit at the worst possible time, so that sucks. And it uses Withdraw. I miss, it uses Bubble. I miss, it uses Bubble. I miss, it's paralyzed. I hit. For those of you who don't know, Blastoise only knows Water Gun and Bubble at this stage, which is why I knew I would win. I had no badge boost. I was just actually outspeeding an Alakazam, and we would have one-shot. But critical hits ignore all our Swords Dance. So in other words, that Body Slam just did 2 times normal damage instead of 4 times. Really annoying stuff. But anyway, we won as I predicted, and the only reason I actually did this is because we already were here. I actually wanted Swords Dance for Koga and thought about it and realized once I was here, I thought I could beat Rival Fivel anyway, and that would save me some backtracking. So Charizard pretty much seems to be able to do whatever it wants right now. And on that note, it wants to defeat Giovanni too, and it does that quite easily. Now, I know I'm already in Saffron, but it actually makes sense to go defeat Koga first, because I don't know if I'm going to outspeed Alakazam yet, and I definitely will after I defeat Koga. We get 12.5% increase in our speed just off the bat, so that's going to help, and we're going to level up. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, if you have a different idea of what I should have done at this point, I stream on Twitch, which you can follow. I don't stream these runs ever, but you can tell me live to my face how you don't agree with the decisions I made. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Anyway, we're going to edit this part out. Let's go battle Koga. I mean, making 30 of these in 30 days, you got to have a little bit of humor. Okay, AJ, edit that out. Anyway, let's have a battle with Koga that will go very well. But now we also have Earthquake. It's the same base power, but it's faster. By which I mean it only takes 1 turn, and that's good because we've been poisoned and it's not gonna matter. I only need to set up 1 Swords Dance. There's X attack, we're fine. Oops, I misclicked. And there's another X attack. Alright, that could have been maybe kind of bad. But we're gonna knock out Coughing. We're gonna knock out Muck. We're gonna knock out Coughing. And we're gonna knock out Wheezing. Easy, easy victory. And I have a feeling that the next 2 gyms will be just as easy as Koga was. I decide to battle Blaine next. Why not? I go for Swords Dance. It goes for Leer. Retroactive Super Potion. I'm just gonna use Earthquake. 1, 2 down. Hey, Rapidash, how you doing? Bye. Oh, Arcanine, are we gonna outspeed? Yeah. Alright, that was pretty easy. So we have to battle Sabrina now, and I think we outspeed her Alakazam, but there's only one way to find out, and I don't actually think it matters that much if we don't. I'm going to go for Body Slam right away against Kadabra, knock it out. I'm going to set up Swords Dance. Mr. Mime goes for Double Slap, and it hits for 5 turns, which sucks. I'm going to knock it out with Body Slam. I'm going to knock Venomoth with Body Slam. I level up, so we don't get the badge boost, but I did just naturally outspeed. and one-shot with Body Slam. Why Body Slam and not Earthquake? The animation is like a few frames quicker, and I didn't have to move the cursor. I don't know. It worked, didn't it? I know someone's gonna ask why, so there's your answer. Anyway, if you want to see Earthquake, don't worry. We're gonna battle Giovanni next. Actually, we're gonna have to use something else because I'm gonna run out of Earthquakes, but not a big deal. I set up a Swords Dance, Giovanni goes for Guard Spec. I set up another Swords Dance, Rhyhorn goes for Tail Whip. There's one Earthquake, there's one gone. Dugtrio, I'm going to go for Body Slam. Now I have 3 Earthquakes left for Nidoqueen, who I knock out. Nidoking, who I knock out. We now get Flamethrower, we can delete Dig. This might make leaving Victory Road a little annoying, but that should be fine. And we use Earthquake. Oh, are you kidding me? Well, that's annoying, but whatever. We beat Giovanni. Critical hit at a bad time, but will Rival 6 be tougher? A lot of times Rival 6 is tougher, but with how easy Rival 5 was, I don't think this is going to be much of an issue. Now, Blastoise should know Hydro Pump, so we have to knock it out in one hit, but I don't think that's going to be a problem if we don't get a really unlucky crit. Anyway, Swords Dance, Wing Attack, Swords Dance, Agility, Quick Attack, Swords Dance, Wing Attack. So we're at half HP, we knock out Pidgeot, Earthquake on Rhyhorn, 2 down, Earthquake on Growlithe, 3 down. We level up, that's fine. We can use Flamethrower and Execute. We learned that during the Giovanni fight. We outspeed Alakazam naturally, and we one-shot Blastoise. So this was about as easy as Rival 5. Actually, it looked even easier. But now I'm worried. Now, I've done a lot of these, so I don't remember too many individual sections, but I do remember how much Charmander struggled with Gyarados. And it's not just Gyarados, Lorelee is pretty tough too. Consider that, unlike Charmander, Charizard is weak to Aurora Beam. That's not a typo, that's not a glitch. In Generation 1, Ice is neutral to Fire, so we have just that weakness to Ice moves due to our Flying type. So that's kind of bad. So Lorelee could be difficult, and I don't know if we're going to beat Lance. Once we do, we win. But the problem is, are we going to beat him? Or are we going to have to go back and train in Victory Road? Which, if we don't, this might be one of the fastest times ever. And if we do, it's probably not even going to be in the A tier or B tier. The second tier, the non-Mewtwo tier. Anyway, one way to find out. Let's do this! Alright, so Lorelee leads with Dugong. We set up Swords Dance, it goes for Aurora Beam, and... Alright, I forgot to use my rare candies, but... oh god. Alright, let's try this for real now. So, now we use Swords Dance, Aurora Beam lowers my attack. I use another Swords Dance, it goes for Rest. I use Body Slam, it doesn't quite knock it out, which is fine. I knock it out on the next turn. I use Flamethrower on Cloyster. It's a 2-turn for Slowbro, so I'm going to set up another Swords Dance. Thankfully, it can go for Water Gun, but it goes for Withdraw. This should be fine. We can knock out Jinx in one hit. I'm not worried about that. Lapras, I'm going to go for Earthquake. And I think that last Swords Dance did, in fact, matter. We knock it out. That went okay. Bruno, I mean, this is a joke. We're just going to set up 3 Swords Dance and then one-shot everything with Earthquake. Unless I get bored. So here's 1, Rage. Yeah, I got bored. We're going to go 1 Earthquake, 2 Earthquakes. All right. 3 Earthquakes. It's just if we knock out Machamp. I don't think we will, though. We don't. It used Fissure. We're Flying type. Anyway. Okay. So that was pretty easy, and Agatha should be just as easy. The only Pokemon we won't one-shot is Golbat. That can confuse us, so that would be bad. Otherwise, this is going to be a total joke. I go for Earthquake. It easily one-shots Gengar. I go for Body Slam, just out of curiosity. Flamethrower would have done more. We knock it out. We level up. Earthquake's now going to knock out the last 3 Pokemon. And so we can make it to Lance. And I think we lose here. So Hydro Pump does have a 20% chance to miss. But relying on a 20% chance to miss is not something I want to do. I don't know. Let's just see how this goes. I'm going to set up Swords Dance. We're going to need it anyway. Hydro Pump misses. I go for Body Slam. It does, I don't know, 2/3. So that's not good. We do knock out Gyarados. But we have barely any HP for the last 4 Pokemon. Well, I should say the last 2 Pokemon, because the 2 Dragonair aren't going to pose much of a threat. But the Aerodactyl will. We can't use Earthquake, and our other 2 moves are resisted. I could teach Submission potentially, but I don't want to do that. I use Flamethrower. It doesn't do half. It goes for Takedown, and yeah. What exactly is the plan here? I mean, what is the plan here? I mean, I can show you my second attempt, but we're going to lose. Think about what happened there. We got a miss, so that's only a 20% chance, and we still didn't do half the Aerodactyl. Flamethrower was definitely our best bet with only 1 Swords Dance. We can't set up a second one because where would we do that? Dragonair? It could still knock us out with Hyper Beam. And even with 2 Swords Dance, there's no way Body Slam is a 1-hit KO against Aerodactyl. I could maybe delete Body Slam with Submission, but there are 2 problems with that, which is why I don't want to go that route. The first is that Submission misses 20% of the time. The second is the recoil damage is probably enough to knock us out because of how low our HP is after Gyarados. And as I quickly make my way through the Elite Four, we don't even make it past Gyarados. We set up the Swords Dance, and it knocks us out with 2 Hydro Pumps, which is by far the most likely outcome. So what in the world am I gonna do? Well, there's only one thing I can do. I need to level up. I need to at least do half the Aerodactyl, and ideally, Gyarados can't do more than half, because that way, I get at least 3 turns against Gyarados, which I think I need. Now, I know some of you will ask, well, J-Rose, why not just not reset and keep the levels you gain versus Elite Four? Good question, but I used up some elixirs, and I might need them later. I never like using up elixirs because you can't get more of them once you run out, and if you run out, that can make the battles really annoying. So I would rather just reset and battle these much easier trainers in Victory Road, and then see what's going on. So I do that. You may have also noticed, by the way, I save before I use the rare candies, just in case something like this were to happen. It takes fewer experience points to level up from level 48 than it does to level up from level 51, and there's no real benefit to being at a higher level against these much easier trainers. So if you can believe it, we actually gain 6 levels via leveling up in Victory Road. That should make a difference. I was curious whether a single Swords Dance Body Slam would knock out Dugong now. It doesn't. But Dugong decides to go for rest. I can set up a second Swords Dance. I know if I used Earthquake, it would have knocked it out. I was just curious if Body Slam would. Now against Bruno, I mean, there's no point really commentating the next 2 fights. I can just speed right through them. I guess the only Pokemon of relevance, I would say, is the Golbat. We haven't yet seen if Flamethrower would one-shot. We also have Fire Blast just in case. Flamethrower doesn't one-shot, but thankfully it doesn't confuse me, so we're fine. That means we're going to knock out the next 3 Pokemon with Earthquake, and we're going to make it back to Lance. But what will happen once we make it to Lance? Will we do more than half? Will Hydro Pump do less than half? Let's find out. So what's going to happen here? I'm going to use Swords Dance, and over half. Close, but over half. I'm going to use Body Slam. Oh, it paralyzes, and it misses. That's not a one-shot, though, which is what we need. All right, well, we're going to knock out Gyarados, and we have way more HP than last time. We're also going to knock out the 2 Dragonair, even though I probably could set up a Swords Dance, but I don't want to. I don't think it's a good idea. I want as much HP as possible for Aerodactyl, so I'm going to go for Flamethrower. Unfortunately, it doesn't do half. It goes for Hyper Beam. Ooh, we tank it. I think we just won, guys. We're going to go for Swords Dance. It has to recharge. Now Flamethrower does 12.5% more. Knocks it out with 2 Swords Dance. That should be enough to one-shot Dragonite. Oh, no. That's not good. Maybe it's just a bad range. All right, we get a second opportunity. No. Come on. I mean, I kind of deserve that with the luck with the Hydro Pump and whatnot, but still. Aw. I mean, listen, we would have won probably if that would have not been a critical hit, but I would have felt like it was an unfair representation. So here's the thing, we're gonna have to level up a little bit more. I also think I can buy some calciums. The combination between buying calciums and leveling up probably will be enough to tank a second Hydro Pump, and the attack boost from leveling up should be enough to one-shot Dragonite. This is gonna be pretty close. Oh, and in case you were curious, I went to the fighting dojo to gain 1 level. Thankfully, it worked out pretty perfectly. There is still 1 rare candy in the power plant if we need to get another level. Hopefully this will be enough. Let's see. At this point, I think we can safely say that there's not much to say about the first 3 members of the Elite Four. So in case this is the winning battle, I'm just going to keep them all in so you know I don't save between Elite Four members. For those of you who might be new, welcome. The reason I don't save between Elite Four members is simple. I mean, the honest answer is that Pokemon Stadium 2 worked like that, and I love that game. But the logic behind it is that if you need to rely on luck, it might work for 1 or 2 battles, but not for 5. So if I'm just relying on lucky strategies all the time, I'm not going to win. A little bit of luck can work, like 1 Hydro Pump miss. But if I'm losing again and again and again, like in the Krabby video, it's a wake up that, nah, you're just trying to rely on luck. You need a better strategy. So that's the idea. Anyway, we've made it back to Agatha. This is going to be... Oh my god. I'm out of Earthquake. I have 1 left, so we're going to have to use Flamethrower against Golbat. Crit, we knock it out in 1 hit. I have to use Flamethrower against Haunter. Thankfully, it burns and goes for the Super Potion. I have to use it against Arbok. Almost knocks it out. It could have used Glare, but now things are fine. All right, we're at level 68. We won't level up in the middle of the battle. I don't know. Please work. I don't have anything more. I don't have an inspirational speech. I really just want this to work. Please work. All right, so we're going to go for Swords Dance. It misses. We won. Body Slam crits, which technically does less than Swords Dance. I know, Gen 1's weird. Anyway, it paralyzes. We get hit. It didn't do half. So we would have won probably anyway. Earthquake on Dragonair. Actually, I should set up a Swords Dance. Too late. Knocked out both Dragonair. Go for Flamethrower. Hyper Beam. Set up the second Swords Dance. Flamethrower. That's good. And now we use Body Slam. That's good. Could we have won if Hydro Pump didn't miss? The answer to that is yes, if one of 2 things happened. One, if Aerodactyl went for Supersonic, which is a 1 in 4 chance, and it missed. So a 12.5% chance, which is lower than just Hydro Pump missing. Or we could have taught Fire Blasting on a crit with Fire Blast, which is also about a 12% chance of happening. So there were some pathways to victory. We got the miss, and now we just need to clutch it out. Unfortunately for Charizard, it just has a terrible, terrible matchup against Gyarados, but we will be able to set up against Blastoise, and I think this is going to work pretty nicely. Let's see. So, first champion battle, Pidgeot. We're going to use Swords Dance. It goes for Sky Attack. Let's not mess around with that. We go for Body Slam, and we don't knock out the Pidgeot. Okay. So I'm going to set up another Swords Dance, and now Pidgeot mirror moves it. So, yeah, let's just knock out Pidgeot. That's 1 down. Next comes out Alakazam. Going to go for Earthquake. We outspeed. We knock it out. 2 down. We level up. Nice level. I use Swords Dance. Fury Attack misses. I accidentally hit Flamethrower. Leer misses. And this time I intentionally use Flamethrower and knock out Rhydon. Arcanine comes out next. I use Earthquake. Just 2 Pokemon remaining. Executor is not super scary. I wish I knew Fly. Yellow only. So, do we knock it out? We do. Although I think the crit mattered. And now we don't want to crit. Come on, we've hit our crit quota. No crits. Okay, so that was an interesting run. Not really super difficult, even though we thought it might be against Brock. Little bit difficult against Misty. Pretty smooth sailing right until the Elite Four. And Lance's Gyarados hard walled us. So where does that leave our Charizard? Well, at level 69, it's actually one of the highest level Pokemon we've had, and yet the time is fairly decent. How do we explain this? I brought this up earlier, but different Pokemon require different numbers of experience points to get from level to level, and while medium slow does slow down towards the end of the game, for the vast majority of the game, Charizard levels up quicker. And you know what, to give you some exact numbers, to get to level 48, which is how we started the Elite Four, Charizard needs just over 102,000 experience points. For Pokemon in the medium fast group, such as Evolutions, Pikachu, etc., they would still be at level 46, almost at level 47, and then for Pokemon like the legendary Pokemon, Gyarados, Dragonite, etc., they would be at only level 43. And this isn't even the most fair comparison, because Charizard levels up even faster in the early and mid-game, and being at a higher level in the mid-game can allow things to be much faster. And for that reason, Charizard has a very good in-game time, but a very bad level, and so I'm going to put it at the bottom of the B tier. It's going to stick out no matter where I put it, but I feel like this is the fairest place. We could have won the Lance fight even without luck, but we did need a little bit of it. Overall, the game went very smoothly, and I'm really excited to see how Blastoise does. Will it be the same order as the pre-evolved, or will Blastoise be able to overtake Venusaur and become the best starter in Generation 1? Only one way to find out. Stay tuned, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.